What if the vessel you dismissed as a child's plaything is actually the only ark capable of carrying the weight of your grief? And the most advanced technology in the galaxy runs not on fusion cores, but on the unfiltered imagination you were taught to outgrow? In Toy Starship, M.R. Forbes delivers a science fiction novella that transforms the space opera trope into a luminous meditation on intergenerational healing, proving that in universes defined by loss, wonder is not escapism, it is the most sophisticated form of survival. This isn't merely another nostalgic sci-fi with retro aesthetics. It's a tender, emotionally precise narrative where every flickering console light holds memory, every malfunction feels like both failure and invitation, and salvation requires trusting the part of yourself that still believes in magic when logic demands surrender. From the first static-laced narration, listeners are immersed in a cosmos where scale is irrelevant and heart is the only true propulsion system. Perfect for fans of character-driven speculative fiction and stories where hope is forged through play rather than power, this audiobook serves up atmospheric warmth, relentless authenticity, and a protagonist whose journey from cynical adult to renewed believer resonates with anyone who's ever mistaken maturity for wisdom. When engineer Kalen Vance inherits his late daughter's prototype Starship model after her death, he expects sentimental clutter, not to discover the toy responds to emotional resonance rather than technical input, activating systems that defy known physics. But as Kalen navigates failing life support and bureaucratic dismissal, he realizes this inheritance isn't about preservation, it's about continuation. Forbes masterfully avoids reducing the ship to magical gimmick, or Kalen to grieving father archetype. Instead, he crafts a narrative where technology becomes relational, where consent is negotiated through intuitive attunement rather than manuals, and where leadership means honoring the child's vision while making space for adult accountability. The audiobook narration amplifies this emotional precision, capturing Kalen's disciplined despair softening into dawning wonder, while secondary voices shift subtly between skepticism and awe, making every diagnostic feel like both prayer and possibility. You don't just hear the ship awaken, you feel the seismic shift of a man learning that some truths can only be accessed through the language of love. What elevates Toy Starship beyond typical sentimental sci-fi is its nuanced portrayal of play as cognitive liberation rather than regression. Kalen isn't merely indulging nostalgia, he's confronting how professional conditioning taught him to equate worth with utility, challenging the notion that healing requires productivity. His relationships evolve through acts of radical reciprocity, sharing silence during system recalibrations that bypass performance, setting boundaries that protect both mission integrity and emotional processing, and defending the ship's validity against institutions that mistake whimsy for waste. Supporting characters add vital texture, fellow engineers whose pragmatism masks longing, administrators whose rigidity reflects institutional trauma, even the toy itself, rendered as living archive whose circuits absorb decades of unspoken devotion. Every interaction reinforces the novella's core truth. In worlds built on efficiency, imagination is insurgency, and presence is the only reliable navigation system. Even the sci-fi mechanics serve thematic depth, with playful interfaces mirroring emotional integration, and childlike logic becoming metaphor for post-traumatic clarity. For audiobook listeners, this production is an immersive sensory descent into cosmic tenderness. The narrator embodies Kalen's evolving perspective with remarkable range, from clipped professionalism to trembling openness during breakthroughs, while supporting characters are distinguished through vocal textures that honor complexity without caricature. Sound design enhances atmosphere without overwhelming intimacy, distant chimes marking emotional resonance, rain against hangar windows during vulnerable confessions, the hushed whir of miniature engines syncing with breath during moments of connection, all anchor mythic stakes in tangible reality. Pacing mirrors the rhythm of rediscovery, deliberate during reflection and experimentation, then surging with urgency as external pressures collide with internal awakening. Whether you're commuting through urban chaos or sitting in twilight stillness, the audiobook creates a portable sanctuary where slowness feels sacred and wonder feels lifeline. Its storytelling as embodied validation, transforming passive listening into active participation in a journey where healing isn't about fixing what's broken, but about remembering what was always whole. Ultimately, Toy Starship redefines speculative fiction by centering male emotional labor within technological frameworks. It satisfies genre cravings for inventive world-building and hopeful resolution, while delivering substantive commentary on paternal grief, institutional rigidity, and the radical act of trusting intuition when systems demand proof. No prior series knowledge is needed. It stands confidently as a complete emotional odyssey in compact form. If you've ever wondered whether joy can coexist with sorrow, or if true strength requires embracing what others dismiss, this audiobook will affirm that sometimes the most powerful technology is simply allowing yourself to believe again. Press play, pick up the controls, and prepare to believe that even in landscapes shaped by loss, hearts still find ways to launch. Your next favorite sci-fi isn't waiting in distant galaxies, it's waiting in the brave, trembling choice to play when everything tells you to perform.